everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Jennifer, and today's video is going to be something completely different. Today we are going to be talking about what it's really like to be on YouTube, to have a YouTube channel. This marks the 6-month anniversary of my channel's beginnings, and a number of you have asked about how to get started on YouTube, what it's really like to be on YouTube, what do I use for equipment, you know, all the good questions. And so what I decided to do is not really tell or try to tell all of you how to create a channel or what to do, but to just give you my experience here at the 6-month mark. Because I think it's one of those things, like anything in life, everybody's experience is unique, and it's going to be your personal journey if you decide to do it. But I think there are some pillars, if you will, that I think all of us can understand and follow. So first, I would say the question is that I get most often is, what do you need to get started? Honestly, the number one thing is the desire to have a channel. And I know that sounds so simple, but really guys, if your desire to be on YouTube, if your desire to have a channel is about making a lot of money or becoming famous, that's great. That's fantastic. You know, if you have dreams of whatever they are, you should follow them. The thing about YouTube, and the thing about starting on this channel, especially now in 2020, is that there's a tremendous amount of content creators out there. And so when you get started, and we'll get into this, even if you're incredibly lucky and incredibly talented, you're likely not going to take off overnight. So you have to really have the desire and the love for what it is you are doing. Obviously, I do a lifestyle, beauty, fashion channel. Those are things that I love. And the reason I started the channel was because I love those things and I wanted an outlet for my creativity. Whatever comes from this, whatever comes from that will be extra and amazing and wonderful. But I realize that the reason that I'm doing it, it will be sustainable because I love what I'm talking about. I love what I'm doing. It is a job. Don't think it's not, because it absolutely is. And we'll get into that. So, okay, so actual like equipment and everything. There are tons of people on YouTube that use their phone. If you have like, say, one of the newer iPhones, for example, the iPhone 10 and 11, those cameras on those phones and the way they operate, frankly, you could run your entire channel just using that. In fact, I know many very successful content creators who do that. So you really don't need to invest in an incredibly expensive camera. I went out and did invest in a Canon EOS 80D. That's the camera that I'm using right now when I'm talking to you. It's an excellent all-around camera. It's what I use to have my photos taken for my thumbnails. It's what I use for my videos. It's extremely good camera. It has excellent battery life, really good images, and I really did a tremendous amount of research trying to figure out what it was I wanted. The lens that I use is an EFS 18-55 millimeter. It's a good lens. It's not the best lens, but it's a good one, and it's good enough because I sit relatively close to my camera, you know, desk width distance away. If you really want to invest in a very, very high-end camera, there are video cameras. Canon makes a really good one, but they're thousands and thousands of dollars. This one, I don't remember exactly what I paid for it, but you know, you're looking at the $500 to $1,000 range for the camera and the lens. The mic is a Rode mic, and I'll put the details of it below. Again, it's a boom mic. I sit relatively close to my camera. I do have a setup that actually has like the pole and the thing that will, you know, like put the mic near your face. I haven't needed to use that yet. It may be something that I do at some point. I don't know if my arrangement ever changes. We'll see. So that's what I did for my camera. I do have a ring light. I love my ring light, the newer ring light. Again, I'll put these details below, don't worry. The ring light is actually, people ask, is it really helpful? Actually, yes. It does make a huge difference. I have a diffuser on the ring light as well. And I feel like it does make a huge difference when you're trying to record. The thing about the videos and the things that you see, for people who have a better quality setup with box lights and ring lights and a good camera, it does make the image really pop on screen. I do try to take pictures from when I can. My real job, my other job, takes up a tremendous amount of time, so it's very rare that I'm out during the day and so I can get, you know, in light pictures. Even if I tried to find time like to stand in front of a window, or my days sometimes literally I don't even have time to do that. So when I can give you real life pictures of what the makeup looks like, I definitely will, but it's very hard for me to do. And I will tell you that the makeup that you see here on camera, yeah, it does look different in direct light and real light, but I am very careful to make sure that when I'm applying makeup, I would apply it the way that I would if I was going outside, which is why I generally don't have, in fact, I've never done false lashes on my channel because I don't wear them in real life. Plenty of people do, and when they do it on their channel, it looks fantastic because that's who they are and they wear them out. I don't. I'm very careful with my foundation. I don't put on a lot of foundation. I don't pack in powder. I don't do any of those things because I know for my skin, for me, I'm 48 years old, I have rosacea, I have dry skin, I have imperfections. I wouldn't like the way I look when I go outside. So I try to make sure that what you're seeing on camera is going to be at least close to what you'd see outside. Obviously, natural light is different, but I try to make it as realistic makeup as I can, which is why sometimes actually when I'm showing you images, it doesn't actually look as good as some content creators whose skin looks flawless and perfect when their makeup is done. Because frankly, it's a lot heavier makeup. Nothing wrong with that, but just keep that in mind when you're looking at images. I do have 2 box lights, one on either side of me. Again, I'll put all this information below, which helps, you know, keep everything, the light on me, which is extremely important when you're filming. You know, you think about it, well, you're like, oh, you could just use regular light. Try to film something, just even with your camera, without light on the subject. It never comes out right, which is why lots of times when you're using your iPhone and you take a picture, you'll see that flash because the camera is putting light on the subject so that it can bring it into the eye of the camera and get a true picture. Your eyes themselves can see a lot better and can get a better image of things than the camera can when it's recording. So it's important to have good lighting. If I were to tell all of you, okay, what's the most important thing of all of those things to get, I would say the lighting. If you can't afford a lot when you're starting your channel and you can't afford a new camera, but you have a great iPhone, I'd say get a ring light. Get a good ring light. There's attachments for the top of the ring light. You can put your iPhone on it and you can record and you're all set to go. Good ring light is like $200. It's not, you know, it's not that big of an investment if you're going to do a channel, and I think it's worth it. So that is what I would say. Audio is important because if people can't hear you and they can't understand you, you're not putting your best self across. So I would say test out your audio, do a couple of video runs, make sure that it's clear, it's not tinny, that it doesn't have an echo. A lot of times if you're recording in a room where there's no rugs or fabrics, things can sound harsh. Test it out a couple times and see how it goes. What I would tell you is when you get started, you will not be ready. The reason is no one is. I don't care how capable you are, the job that you do every day. I'm an attorney by training and what I do is policy work. I've been doing it for more than 20 years and I feel like I'm pretty decent at it. You know, you can always learn new things. But when I started YouTube, even though I speak in public all the time, I was so stilted and awkward. If you go back to my first video, I cringe when I go back to my first video, and that was only 6 months ago. So just give yourself a break. Go ahead, invest on the things that you think you need to invest in. Like I said, I think lighting is extremely important. Get started. Just do it. The first 10 will be bad. It's okay. It's all right. Nobody cares. Everybody has a trajectory, and I'm telling you, the more you do it, the better you'll get at it. It's like anything. Experience counts for more than anything else. The other thing for equipment, by the way, that I didn't mention is a good computer. So you want to, in my opinion, if you're going to do editing and you're going to do processing of these videos, you want a decent computer. I have a MacBook Pro. I have one of the newer ones. I will admit it has a tremendous amount of storage capacity. It has the most you possibly can buy on the MacBook Pro. It was a very expensive investment. For me, it was worth it. I use it for multiple things. My work computer's a completely different type. You know, I don't want the two to mix at all. I also bought a backup storage device that has 2 terabytes of storage, which I will tell you, when you're doing these videos, that adds up really quickly. I've done about 110 videos so far, and I've got basically 1 terabyte already used up on that storage device. So if you're doing HD quality video, which I do, 1 terabyte goes like that if you're trying to save these things. I'm not gonna save all of them. I will rewrite over a lot of these, the early ones especially, but just keep that in mind. You want something that has good storage capacity. Also, when you're processing the videos, whether you use Final Cut Pro or iMovie or whatever you decide to use, it takes processing power, and you'd be surprised how much processing power it takes. So if you're gonna invest somewhere, when I said before, invest in lighting, invest in a good computer if you can. I understand it's not easy. And if you can't make that leap yet and you're doing it on your phone, hey, that's totally fine. But realize at some point, if you're going to actually do this long term, that's gonna be an investment that you wanna make, in my opinion. How do you learn what to do? How do you learn whether you wanna use Final Cut Pro or iMovie, or if you wanna buy a phone, or how do you, upload to YouTube, or how do you get started on YouTube, or how do you create a banner? All of these things nobody tells you. It's not like it's all in one place. There's a couple things that you can do and things that I did. I subscribe to Skillshare, which is a site that basically you can take classes in pretty much anything. You want to learn how to do calligraphy? They have it. You want to learn a new language? They have it. If you want to learn how to do Final Cut Pro, they have it. And that's what I did. I literally taught myself Final Cut Pro. Took me about 2 months, because of course I was working at the same time. And I'm not gonna say that I'm a pro at it at all. I reach out for advice from various content creators and Skillshare and all kinds of other things all the time. But you learn more every day, and I feel like I'm at least decent at it now at the 6-month mark. Final Cut Pro, if you do decide to do it, is a very powerful editing tool, and I love it, but it's not intuitive. It's not like you look at it and go, oh yeah, that totally makes sense. It really doesn't. You have to learn it. So it's powerful, but complicated. I think it's like $300 as well. But how did I know to even do that? So honestly, I started watching other people's channels, and like I'm doing right now for all of you, other content creators have started to put up videos. They're like, this is how I got started. This is what I used. Here are things you should do. So find content creators that you like and enjoy, that you respect. The work that they do is something that you like. And find out how they did it. I actually reached out to folks. I reached out to Shelly at Geek Out of Water. Hi, Shelly. And she's an amazing content creator. You should be following her if you're not already. And she was extremely helpful because she gave me some advice on some computers and cameras. She is the camera aficionado and has been working in photography for a very long time. But she is extremely talented and knows a lot about that space, and she was incredibly helpful. And she has been on YouTube for a couple of years, so she was extremely helpful, and others have been as well. I've developed a small group of content creator friends who have all started about the same time that I have, and we ask questions of each other and help each other out, which I think is extremely important. If you can try to put a group like that together naturally, or organically is best, but hey, I mean, however you need to do it, because everyone will pick up little different pieces of information and you share. I think there are also other content creators that talk about specifically how to create YouTube channels, how to get more viewers, etc., etc. The only thing I would say there is just remember, those folks who are doing those dedicated videos are looking to grow their channels and get more views, and you should just watch a number of different ones to get different perspectives. Just like you're watching me, I assume that you're watching many other channels that are beauty, lifestyle, whatever. That's a good thing. And you want to get different perspectives. So don't just rely on one person's idea or perspective or advice. Get out there, talk to different folks, and figure out what you want to do. There is no rule book for this, and there is no specific, you must do these 10 things. It's just not really how it works. You're gonna learn as you go through it. I'm at, like I said, the 6-month mark, and I've learned so much in just 6 months. I cannot even tell you. If you go back after this video and go back and see my first 5 videos, I think you'll all agree I've gotten better. I hope you agree. No, I mean, you know, you just do, because you do it and you get used to it and you learn to edit better and you learn people to reach out to help you with graphics and all that good stuff. How much time does it take? That really is up to you. What I would say is for a normal, for me, 20-minute video-ish, I'm probably saying that each video that goes up takes me 5 to 6 hours to do, maybe more. And the reason for that is it usually takes about an hour to film it because you cut out a bunch of stuff, or something goes wrong, or you have to re-record because, you know, your mic wasn't on. I mean, weird stuff happens, guys. It's just the way it is. Also for me, sometimes, you know, to get ready before you're actually doing it, if I'm doing a makeup video where I'm just doing eyes, a lot of times I will put my makeup on before and then do the eye look or whatever it is. That takes time. Editing can take a lot of time. You think, oh, it's 20 minutes of video, it's 20 minutes of editing. That is not how it works. It takes much, much longer to do the editing, depending on what you're trying to do and how proficient you are. You have to go in and cut things out, put things in, look for images and add music. And I mean, it is a time-consuming process. But the more time and energy you put into good editing, I think the better your product is. I also think the more comfortable you become in front of the camera and the more off the cuff you can be, the less editing you'll have to do. So, you know, in the beginning I was cutting out more because I was making more mistakes or I didn't feel necessarily as comfortable in front of the camera. My speech was more stilted. Now it's relatively free-flowing, as you can probably tell. So I don't cut out as much. I'm not really having to do that. But again, that takes some time. But I do like to add more images in and those types of things, which, you know, still takes time. Also, how many videos do you want to do a week? If you're doing, you know, 1 to 2 videos a week, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And we'll get to this in a minute, but it does impact how quickly you grow. The more watch time you have, the more subscribers you get, you will have more watch time, obviously, if you have more videos. It's just simple math. But again, you know, I have a full-time job. I'm sure most of you who are considering doing a YouTube channel or already have one, probably have a full-time job. So you can only dedicate so much time to it, and you have to be okay with that. Remember, the most important thing is this is not a sprint. This is a very long-term thing. If it's doing something that you love and you enjoy it, hopefully every time you sit down to do a video, you're excited. I am. I love doing these videos. There are days that I would much rather do this than practically anything else. It's my escape, it's my alone time. I get to be by myself. I get to choose exactly what I'm doing. It's awesome. And I love makeup, I love beauty, I love shiny things. I'm gonna expand as my channel grows into more fashion, more clothing, that type of stuff. COVID kind of clamped down on that a little bit because frankly, I'm not buying as much clothes and shoes for obvious reasons. But we'll get, you know, that will change. So, you know, I do 2 to 3 videos a week on average, sometimes more depending on timing and like new releases and that type of thing. I can tell you that there have been weeks that I've literally put in 40 hours just doing the YouTube channel, in addition to the who knows how long I work, you know, 60 hours in my full-time job. And I'm not joking. Like, there have been weeks where I'm like, I need sleep. I have not slept. I have to get this video up. So you have to decide the balance there: family, work, YouTube, etc. So, and that's important. And recognize that if you burn yourself out in the first 6 months, you're not going to be here on YouTube in 2 years when you start to see the real payoffs of things. So just keep that in mind. But I would say for every video that you do, you know, depending on the timing, I would definitely count on, you know, a 5 to 10 hour commitment to getting up 2 videos a week, if not more time. But I think I'm trying to be like, you know, depends on what you're doing. So it could be less, but it's definitely going to be a time commitment to do all of these things. And don't forget, in addition, you have to think about all the stuff that you're doing on your channel. So like for me, I'm a beauty person. I do, like I said, lifestyle, beauty, fashion. I'm buying things. I'm purchasing things. I'm keeping an eye on the new releases. I'm watching other people's content to figure out like what's the new trend. I'm talking to folks about, you know, like, now I love these things and I was doing them anyway because I, you know, enjoy this, but not to this extent. So that takes up a lot of your time as well. If you're talking about the newest books, or if you're talking about music, again, you have to factor in all of the things that go into your channel. And that's why I'm saying you're probably talking 10 hours a week or more just for 2 videos. And honestly, I think it's more like 20 hours, but I don't want to scare anybody off. I don't want to scare anybody off. What does it cost, and what kind of money are we talking about for being on YouTube? I'll tell you honestly, I've been here 6 months and I don't make any money on YouTube. Nothing. Most YouTubers don't, because when you get started, YouTube doesn't pay you. It's not like you get paid to do this. I am doing this for free. This is for the joy of doing it. At some point, I will be monetized for my channel, hopefully. To be monetized, you have to have more than 1,000 subscribers and more than 4,000 watch hours. It's a lot of watch hours, guys. That means, you know, watch more videos. No, I'm just kidding. But I mean, seriously, like it takes some time to build that. It takes time to build 1,000 subscribers, people who actually watch you and are interested in what you're doing, and then to get 4,000 watch hours. Once that's done, you start to get money from the ads that go up, but it's not a lot of money, guys. I promise you. You can look at a lot of content creators who talk about this stuff and they'll tell you it's not, especially for small channels. Once you start getting into the, like, you know, $250,000 to 1 million subscriber numbers, yes, that's real money, but those are few and far between. Most of us are on the smaller side. I'm about to hit 1,000 subscribers hopefully soon, which is awesome. It's an amazing achievement. I'm actually very proud of myself and all of you. I want to thank for doing that, because it's not easy. It takes a lot of work to get there. And anybody who's thinking about doing this, who's already doing it and feels like they're struggling, or feel like they haven't hit whatever mark they think they're supposed to hit, just remember, it's extremely difficult to do this. You are creating content, you are writing your own scripts, you are producing your own videos, you are editing, you are doing music, you are doing art, you are, if you're like me and you're doing beauty and fashion, you are creating your own looks, so you're basically a makeup artist as well. You're doing the jobs of like 10 people and you're not getting paid for it. So you really better love it, and you really better like doing it for the purposes of, you know, your own interest and needs and wanting to share with folks. Because if you're doing it for money, I don't think that's going to be enough to sustain you for the first, you know, the amount of time it takes to actually become a channel that will support you financially. There are affiliate links, and I'm sure you've heard a lot about this. You can basically get these links so that, let's say I recommend that, like the Dior Quints. If you guys have been watching my channels, I love those. I mean, they're my favorite things in the world at this point. And if you wanted to support my channel, you could use my affiliate link and buy your Dior Quint through my affiliate link, and I would get a small piece of that. That may be something that I do in the future. You guys let me know if that's something that you'd be comfortable with. There's Patreon, which basically is a site that you set up that people can support you. Like they can spend $10 a month just to support your channel. There's different ways for content creators to bring in financial support to support their channels. But in the beginning, you're on your own. You're paying for all these products yourself. You're paying for all the equipment. You're not making any money. And so you have to realize that there's probably going to be, on the conservative side, a year at least where you are making all the capital outlays and there's not going to be any money coming in. So that's why it's so important. A lot of my subscribers have asked, you guys have asked me, like, well, why does it matter how many subscribers you have, or why do you keep saying, please like, please subscribe? It's because in order to get to a point where I start having money coming in from YouTube to help support the channel, to pay for all the products, to pay for the lighting and to do that, you have to have followers and you have to have engagement. You have to have folks who are really watching you and commenting on you and believe in your channel, which I think we are doing organically, and that's how I want to do it. I was perfectly willing to make that financial investment, and I will continue to do so until I feel comfortable and I feel like it's the right time to do like affiliates and those types of things. But again, for you, if you're thinking about starting, just keep that in the back of your mind, because nobody tells you that. Nobody is really clear about, you know, how this really works. I mean, what else can you think of in the world where people are providing services and content, and a lot of them extremely good services and content for free? And that's really what we're all doing here in the beginning anyway. So what is the YouTube community really like? Guys, it's not any different than anywhere else. There are fabulous people and there are terrible people. Don't let anyone tell you, and I know you hear all of this stuff, like, you know, social media stuff about, oh, the beauty community is awful and everybody on YouTube is terrible and there's trolls everywhere and people. Yes, there are. There are bad people. There are mean people. There are people who are unfortunately very sad people who don't have a lot in their lives and feel the need to be cruel to others to make themselves feel better. I don't understand that behavior. I'm sure most of you do not understand that behavior, and it's terrible that we even have to have that conversation. But you're going to have, especially as your channel grows, mean people. You're gonna have people who just say nasty things for no apparent reason. Like they're just being mean. I don't know why. Honestly, I feel bad for anyone who does that. I know it sounds like trite, but I do. I feel bad for them because if you're happy in your life and you're, you know, fulfilling your dreams and you're working hard, the last thing you would do is try to bring down anyone else. So obviously those people you should have sympathy and compassion for, although it's hard. There are days when you're like, wait a second, I'm working, you know, 20 to 40 hours a week doing this thing that I love to bring it to everyone, and I'm so excited about it and I'm not getting paid, and then someone writes something nasty. And it can, I mean, you know, if you're a very sensitive person especially, it can definitely bring you down. It can definitely hurt your feelings. I work in a field that has been crushed out of me a long time ago. It doesn't hurt my feelings. I'm at this point I'm fine. But I still won't tolerate it, and I will block or hide or whatever anybody who does those types of things because I don't want it to be part of our community that I'm trying to build. I won't tolerate it. I wouldn't tolerate it in real life. I don't think it's appropriate, and I think it taints what I'm trying to do here. So I will remove those things, but I just kind of brush it off and be like, okay, that's the way it is. But again, remember, if you're thinking of starting a YouTube channel or you're in the beginning phases of starting it, just recognize, yes, that is going to be there. And there are going to be other content creators that are in your same line, whether you're doing beauty like I am or something totally different, that won't be the most pleasant people. I mean, think of your work experience throughout your life. There's probably people that you absolutely love and have, you know, lifelong friendships with, and there's other people who you're not as fond of. That's okay. You don't have to love everybody. Just be respectful, and you know, everything's fine. Just keep your distance and move on. But I really mean this. I'm very honest on my channel, guys. You know, I have met more good, decent, kind, helpful, supportive people in the 6 months that I've been on this channel than I have maybe in 6 years. I have developed it's a small group of women that have been incredibly supportive and kind and helpful. And these are people who I really believe that I will be friends with forever. I mean, part of it's the bond of, you know, going through this experience, this journey of YouTube together. We're all small content creators. We're all learning our way through all of this. I just asked one of them the other day, I had this question about this green screen issue on Final Cut Pro, and I know she had already done it. So I was like, hey, if you have 5 minutes, could you let me know? She got back to me, and she has an extremely pressure-filled job like I do. She got back to me like in 5 minutes. I was like, oh, of course, here you go. And she showed me on video. I mean, guys, think about all the people in your life that you literally could send a text to, and they would get back to you 5 minutes later with the answer to your question. There's not that many out there. And I actually met her on Kate the Great's, one of Kate the Great's live videos. And Kate the Great, by the way, is an awesome content creator. And Michelle Wong is an amazing content creator. And Risa Does Makeup I mean, all of these women and men, there's women and men out there. You know, there are so many good examples. I don't think you need to focus on the bad. I want to be honest and make it clear to all of you that, like I said, if you're thinking about starting one or you've already started one, yes, there are going to be people who aren't pleasant, but for the most part, I think you can find what it is that you want as part of your community if you're patient and you continue to give of yourself and of your time. Again, this is like anything. You need to invest yourself in this as well. Building relationships on social media is not any different than building relationships in real life. It takes time, it takes interaction. Help others that are out there who aren't at the same place as you. You know, if I'm extremely lucky and my channel does grow and I in the future have, you know, a sizable following, I'm going to, and I try to do this now, but I don't really have, I don't have that much of a, you know, community to do it with, but I certainly want to give back to people that are coming up behind me, because that I think is the purpose of not only this channel, but, you know, life in general. If you've accomplished something, it's so much more rewarding if you can help other people accomplish something too. You know, if you learn something and you're like, oh goodness, that thing took me 6 months to figure out, and I could save somebody 6 months by telling them, or, you know, when somebody sends you an email and asks a question and you get back to them 5 minutes later and say, this is how you do that, that's so much more important to me anyway than practically anything else. And so I think the YouTube community is a lot stronger and more supportive than people give it credit. But you've got to put in your time and effort as well. So just make sure that you keep that in mind. I didn't cover everything today, guys. There's so much. I mean, honestly, it's a job like any other. It takes a lot of time and commitment and money. Even if you're not doing expensive equipment, and let's say you already have your iPhone and you're like, I'm gonna do it in natural light and I'm gonna do it, you know, that's great, but it's still gonna take your time. It's still gonna take effort, and that is worth something. And if you're not, like I said, you're not gonna get financially supported doing those things, at least for a considerable amount of time on YouTube. You have to take that into account when you're thinking about doing this. Would I do it again? Absolutely, no question. If tomorrow there was a reset button, I would do it all over again. I would make less mistakes, although I guess I learned from those, so, you know, that's a good thing. But I love doing this. I love talking to all of you. I love meeting all of you. Hopefully someday I'll actually be able to do it in person. That'd be nice. You know, there are like conferences and makeup forums and like all these things, YouTube conferences, of course, that we can't do right now. I'm looking forward to the days that I get to meet in person all of the amazing people that I have met online. And so I absolutely would do it again. And if any of you are on the fence right now and haven't started yet, I would say absolutely do it. If it's something that you want to do and you love whatever it is you're going to talk about, and you're doing it because it means something to you and that it will fulfill your goals, whatever they are, absolutely do it. But don't wait for like the right camera or the right computer or the right time. There is no such thing. I started my channel literally the week that the pandemic hit the United States. And this is not a time a lot of people are buying makeup or fashion or beauty in general. So the timing probably couldn't be worse, but that's fine. I mean, there's no such thing as a good time. There really isn't. There's always something. I mean, hopefully it's not another, you know, pandemic, forbid. But I mean, there will always be something. There will be, you're too busy, you're too, people will tell you you're too old, you're too whatever. People told me I was too old. They're like, you're 48, no one's gonna watch you. Okay, I disagree. Look, you can always come up with reasons not to do something, but if it's something you want to do, just start and you'll get better at it. I promise. Just watch my early videos for proof. Thanks so much for joining me here today, guys. If you do have questions or there are specifics that I've left out that you want to know about, feel free to put them in the comments below. You know, let me know what other things you'd like me to talk about. I wasn't really necessarily planning on this. I did think that maybe after being on here for like a year or so, I would talk about it a little bit more, but I've actually heard from a lot of you that you're really interested in why and how I started, so I figured I would just do a quick update at the 6-month mark. So there you go, guys. Hope to see you in another video really soon. Bye-bye.